On this Father's Day Sunday, Major League Baseball supports a home run challenge and prostate cancer research. A steamy Sunday in Pittsburgh. We welcome you to PNC Park. Yes, Father's Day 2018. Reds trying to get out of Pittsburgh with a win after dropping the first two of this series. Hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh and Jim Day, I'm Tom Brenneman. Happy Father's Day, partner, and all the dads out there. Thank you very, very much. It's been a weird series as far as runs are concerned. We told you last night, the Reds are 0 for 19 in this series with runners in scoring position. But you look at the way the runs have scored for both teams.
Well, you know what? Right. And really, in a lot of ways, other than with hits and busting the ball out of the ballpark. Now, the Reds have scored a couple of runs on home runs. The Pirates have had 4 runs scored on home runs, errors, ground balls, other hits like that. But this has been a pitching-dominated series. Now, not because the pitching is so outstanding. I think that both of these teams right now offensively are just trying to find a little bit of a flow.
Also trying to find the flow in his comeback after missing the first couple of months of the year is Anthony DeSclafani.
Well, he seems like he's getting a little bit better each time out, and you're hoping that that progress continues this afternoon. A couple of things that are still missing from his repertoire. One is throwing a curveball, which is a main setup pitch for him. The other, I think, is being able to pinpoint that sinking fastball on both sides of the plate. DeSclafani's a guy that really likes to use that front door fastball to left-handers down and in, moves them off the plate, and then comes in and gets the corner. We'll see if he has that working today.
Tell you what a start it's been so far for the former Astro, Joe Musgrove.
Well, they had to wait quite a while to figure out what they got from the Houston Astros when they traded for him back in January. He started on the disabled list at the beginning of the year, but in the 4 starts he's had since coming back, he has been very, very good. His first 2 starts, he was outstanding. Last couple, he's fallen back a little bit. He's a guy that throws a heavy sinking fastball and tries to keep that ball down.
All right, when we come back, we're going to check in with the main man. You know who that is, Jim Day. He's got some unbelievable information about the Reds trying to get out of here with a win and avoid the sweep. JD standing by on Fox Sports Ohio.
and by Buick. Get $5,500 purchase allowance on most Buick Envision models. All right, Reds and Pirates closing out a 3-game set, and the Reds looking, how we doing?
Happy Father's Day, everybody.
Eugenio Suarez. By the way, we'll hear from Gino coming up because today is his first day as a father on Father's Day. The Reds trying to avoid the sweep, and they've done pretty well in those circumstances over the last few games in that situation. It's our Elk and Elk storyline for today. Reds have won their last 4 games when facing being swept. They lost the first 5 of those games to start the season, and they've won the last 4 games against the Pirates in such circumstances as well. The last time being swept by Pittsburgh back in 2013, and here in Pittsburgh, April of 2013. So we'll see what's in store. Happy Father's Day to Tom Brenneman and Chris Welsh.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Day. Happy Father's Day indeed. There's a great story. I had a chance to catch up with Brandon Dixon. He hit his first major league home run here yesterday. It happened to be his father's birthday yesterday out in California. And I asked him, I said, well, were they watching the game? He said they were having a huge cookout in honor of his dad's birthday, and they happened to see it. Good for him. And he got the ball after the game last night.
And he's going to ship it off and give that to his dad for a birthday. And very nice thought of Brandon Dixon. Hey, wouldn't mind to see him hit a few more of those.
Take a look at the Reds starting lineup today under manager Jim Riggleman. 22-30 since he took over this team from Brian Price. Scott Schebler in right, Peraza at short, Votto at first, Jeanette, Suarez, Duvall in the middle, Casali the nod behind the plate, DeSclafani bats 8th, Billy Hamilton bats 9th. Joe Musgrove turned 25 during the offseason, a native of El Cajon, California, and he was part of that deal along with Michael Feliz. We've seen him out of the bullpen in this series. Colin Moran, the third baseman, and an outfielder, Jason Martin. All of those players for Garrett Cole.
Musgrove, that means, has got a World Series wing, and he certainly did. He pitched in the World Series, actually. Did a nice job during his limited amount of time in the postseason with the Astros, but very highly thought of. And the Astros, you know, when they first made that deal for Garrett Cole, there were a lot of people that say, boy, the Astros gave up a lot to get Garrett Cole. Of course, Garrett Cole has turned into one of the best pitchers in the American League. Meanwhile, some of the guys over here getting a chance to play are doing a pretty good job, too. They hope Musgrove can continue what they hope they saw when he was in an Astro uniform.
He has pitched at least 6 innings in 3 of his first 4 starts with the Pirates while winning 2 of the first 3 decisions. He only needed 67 pitches to go through 7 scoreless innings in his debut with the Pirates against the Redbirds. So Schebler digging in. 281 batter, 8 home runs, and the first pitch is taken low. We're underway. Tim Timmons calls the balls and strikes. Rob Drake at first. Mike Winters, a crew chief, the umpire at second. Mike Muchlinski works at third. Softly into short center, and there to run it down is Josh Harrison. Look at the Pirates on defense, presented by Ford. They have Meadows moving from right to center today. Marte off. Polanco back in there. Same infield we've seen the entire series, and starting for the second time in 3 games, Francisco Cervelli. Jose Peraza looks at a strike on the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike, a 269 batter. 2 home runs and 18 batted in for Peraza. Had a couple of hits in the series opener, was on base 3 times, but then 0 for 3 with a walk last night, and he went around 1 and 2.
Good looking breaking ball right there from Musgrove.
Peraza's reached base safely in 17 in a row, nearly a 350 batter. And for Schebler, the same thing, 16 in a row, also at 348.
Hey, you would think, well, Schebler leadoff hitter, Peraza number 2 hitter. They're getting on base a lot for the guys behind him, and not always the case because Peraza has spent a lot of time down in the bottom of the order here lately.
Coming in to get it is Austin Meadows, and the first 2 retired by Musgrove here in the Reds' opening inning. Today, a milestone day in the career of Joey Votto. His 1,500th career appearance. And he does so here at PNC Park against the Pirates, the opponent he has faced the most in his career, the 167th game against him. So interesting, we just don't have enough time or enough room to look through some of the numbers. Votto's numbers at the 1,500 career games mark of the first basemen that have been inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame, and where their numbers were at the same juncture. But needless to say, Votto's are extraordinarily good. It also puts into perspective some of those that are in the Hall of Fame and how extraordinarily great they were. Look out, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Really more high than it is inside right there. Votto has a tendency to lean that chin of his right out over the dish. Musgrove has earned himself a quick reputation of being a guy not afraid to come right after the hitter, literally. So he's worked an 0-2 count into a 3-2 count.
Gone on strikes, and the Reds are gone in the first in 1-2-3 fashion. You were thinking about jumping into the river this morning.
I'll tell you what, nice and humid, warm Pittsburgh day would be a nice time. They maybe swim from one side of the river to the other.
Pirates lineup: Harrison, Meadows, Cervelli to start it. Moran in the cleanup spot. Dickerson in left and Bell at first. Polanco, Mercer, Musgrove the latter third. And making his third start since coming off the disabled list, Reds right-hander Anthony DeSclafani.
Now 28 years old, the third start. He's pitched 10 innings so far. He's given up 16 hits over those 10 innings, but You know, what he's trying to do, I think, is very difficult. Musgrove will figure it out, too, although Musgrove seems to have not had a problem, which is come off the DL and come right into the game speed.
Soft liner handled by Peraza, and Harrison retired.
For DeSclafani, you know what he likes to do is pound the bottom of the zone with that sinking fastball, cut it a little bit, sink it sometimes, curveball, slider, and occasional changeup.
Of course, with all the injuries, DeSclafani basically has not pitched in over 2.5 years, and you got to go back to the 2016 season, the last time he faced the Pirates. In his career, this is his 7th start, a very fine 3.4 ERA, and in this ballpark, today is his 4th start, an even lower earned run average at 3.18. But that was long before all the injuries hit Anthony DeSclafani. 1 ball, 1 strike on the rookie standout Austin Meadows, the National League's Rookie of the Month, and he only played about half the month after they brought him up from the minor leagues. 5 home runs, 10 knocked in, a .333 batter is Meadows. Good movement there.
Yeah, that's a slider, and it's a good one that he throws. He's got one that he can kind of come over the top more, take something off, more of a curveball type. That's a hard one. Boy, look at how much that goes down. Looks like they just want to crowd Meadows for something inside.
Clearly hurting down there.
Well, you do that on most of the time when their pitch is down and in, especially a cutter from a right-handed pitcher, maybe a slider down and in. And if I'm Anthony DeSclafani, I'm coming right back down in there. Oh. Pretty good looking pitch.
That ball hit well into deep right center field. Schebler, the warning track, or Hamilton, I beg your pardon, is there to get it. Schebler trotting right alongside with him, and Billy able to get to it for the 2nd out of the inning. Let's take a look at the Reds on defense. You know, Hamilton's in center, Schebler in right, Duvall in left. Regular infield of Suarez, Peraza, Jeanette, and Votto, and Casali, his first start of this series. That one hit well into deep right center field, and Billy Hamilton, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What an unbelievable play made by Red center fielder Billy Hamilton. Completely horizontal to the ground. Take a look at this. Wow. We were talking about 5-star catches yesterday. That's an 8-star catch.
it and then see it again and again, you really can't appreciate how much ground Billy Hamilton covers, number one, and then the effort he puts into it at the very end of this play. Incredible effort by Billy Hamilton. Cervelli appreciates a good defensive play.
Yep, absolutely.
Even if he's the victim.
Hamilton probably the only outfielder in baseball, center fielder in baseball who makes that play. I know Enciarte won the Gold Glove, but he does not run as well as Hamilton. Runs well, but not that well. I don't think he gets there in time. We don't see him play every day, and we've talked about that many, many times before, but I think all of us, as you just pointed out, who are fortunate enough to watch Hamilton daily are just completely baffled he's not won a Gold Glove. Extraordinary defender. Scooter Gennett pops up on the first pitch. And he's out to begin this Reds' second inning of a scoreless game. Strike one on a Eugenio Suarez, who hit a home run here yesterday, and he now has 50 runs batted in. And that was good enough to go into play today for Suarez with the second most runs batted in the National League, behind Colorado shortstop Trevor Story, who has 52. Freeman at 49, Gennett at 48. The top four. Strike three called on Suarez, and that's a second strikeout for Musgrove.
I'll tell you, Musgrove's off-speed stuff very sharp here this afternoon already. Struck out Joey Votto on a changeup to end the first inning. He gets Suarez on a slider right here. Now that could have been a cutter. His cutter is about 90 miles an hour. His slider is a little bit less than that. He's got a fastball that runs up around 93. So not overpowering velocity wise, but a lot of movement and good command.
A lot of run on that fastball right there.
Yeah, and that's a great example right there. First pitch, get ahead fastball, but he wants to take the power away from Duvall and keeps it right in on his hands.
Now, granted, he's retired the first 5 batters, and this is the first time we've ever seen Musgrove, but you can frequently tell the kind of confidence a pitcher has just by his body language. And just watching this guy bounce around the mound, he is a very confident young pitcher right now.
He's a big guy. I mean, he's 6'5", 260 pounds, and sometimes big guys like that have a hard time finding their delivery and the delivery that they can repeat, because they've got so many arms and inches and legs and so on going. But he's got everything under control.
And gone swinging is Duvall. 6 in a row retired by Musgrove, 3 on strikeouts, no score. This game raises money for prostate cancer research. Since June the 1st, nearly $2.4 million has been raised in the challenge, and you can make a pledge if you're able. Go to homerunchallenge.org. Talking about Michael Milken starting that program. You pointed out last night, Chris, when we were having dinner, that he was in the Fox broadcast booth last night in St. Louis.
Yeah.
For the Cubbies and the Cardinals.
Along with Joe Torre visiting up there.
Of course, Joe Torre is also a prostate cancer survivor. He was very instrumental in getting that thing off the ground. That ball is hammered into right center field. Moran is homered for the second straight day. This young man can hit.
DeSclafani has tried to throw that pitch a couple of times already today, and first time he's left it out over the plate and hittable. Looked like a four-seamer up and in, trying to crowd him under the elbows a little bit, and Moran got the good part of the bat on it.
1-0 Pittsburgh. A leadoff home run in the second by Moran. That'll bring Corey Dickerson to the plate. Second home run in 11 innings. Surrendered by DeSclafani, but it is 17 hits allowed and 8 runs in 11 innings for DeSclafani. Oh, and 2. Told you when the Pirates won the opening game of this series on Friday, it was the first time they had won 2 in a row going back to May. Now they've won 3 straight. And that's the first time going back to when they swept the Chicago White Sox May 15th and 16th. Popped up for Jeanette. He squeezes it tightly, and that's the first out here in the second inning. The Pirates got off to the great start this year. They were a season best 9 games over 500 after that sweep of the White Sox at 26 up 17 down, but they've lost 18 of their last 27, and that's even with the wins in the first 2 games of this series. They come in 35 up 35 down. And they're still very much in the hunt in the National League Central. They're just 7 games back. Milwaukee lost yesterday. Cubs beat the Cardinals again. The Cardinals have lost 4 games in a row. You know, Chris, you made the point, and we'll see if it plays out this way, but were it not for the way the Cardinals have dominated the Reds so far this year, that St. Louis team is under 500.
Yeah, the Reds have just not been able to do anything, and the Cardinals have made up a lot of ground on everybody else by beating the Reds. Pirates, on the other hand, have been really good against the American League in interleague play when Central Division plays Central Division. They're 4-0 against the White Sox, 5-1 against the Tigers. They split a 2-game series with the Twins.
Duvall coming a long way to get that. Wow, did he come a long way to get that.
He kind of saved the day right there. It looked like that it was Suarez who with that particular shift was going to be the closest to it, but he was going to have to make an over-the-shoulder catch to be able to get that ball in. Look how far Peraza has to come from behind second base, so it's Suarez all the way.
Base hit into right field. Off the bat of Gregory Polanco. We invite you to watch every out-of-market regular season game. You can do it live at home. You can do it in the office or on the go with MLB.tv. Visit MLB.tv for details. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. We hope you have a great day. Jordy Mercer at 263. Been among the hottest Pirate batters over the last 2.5 weeks. A .317 batter in his last 30, but he started so poorly that it's taken him a long time just to get up into the 260s, 270s.
You know, I don't really think that you worry about Jordy Mercer's batting average any time during the season. He's just kind of one of these steady eddies that plays every day, makes every play at shortstop that he can get to. And he's just dependable. I mean, you know, he may not be a potential superstar. What do they call that? They're going to send Polanco to second base, and they call it a hit by pitch. I thought it may have hit the bat with the way the reaction Mercer had to that.
Jim Riggleman wondering the same thing as he comes out to visit with the home plate umpire who made that decision, Tim Timmons. And Jim Riggleman looking into his dugout. I don't think there's any doubt about it. That ball hit the bat.
Well, they're going to go to review.
Yep.
I mean, sometimes the hitter can react right away and sell it, you know, do a really good acting job, but Mercer didn't do that at all. He just backed out of there into the on-deck circle and kind of was waiting for things to kind of play itself out.
Kind of like you waiting for a check on dinner. Just wait and see how it plays itself out. You and Jim Day, for that matter.
And if we're lucky, it never comes.
That has been the norm.
Well, what we thought would happen, Mercer's getting the check, and he'll be back in the batter's box.
So a good challenge there by the Red skipper, and they come away with a win, so he still has that one in his hip pocket. In the meantime, Mercer had taken off his batting gloves, and the bat boy had come out to get his helmet, so both of those being retrieved from the third base side dugout. Look at those numbers for Mercer at home, but not so good on the road. Polanco has 3 stolen bases in 4 attempts. So Mercer back in there with a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-0 Pirates. 2 outs and a runner at first here in the second inning.
And Polanco is dancing around down there at first base. You know, he knows that DeSclafani has a pretty quick move to first, but he's very deliberate to home unless he mixes in a slide step. I don't know if this is a stolen base situation here or not. Probably not. I mean, wasn't it Polanco just a few days ago that was complaining about hamstring problems?
Well, they had a situation, and we told the story yesterday, where they had runners at second and third in a game in Arizona. He hits a ground ball down to the first baseman, Goldschmidt, of the Diamondbacks, and he looked up to feed the pitcher covering the bag. The pitcher never covered the bag. There's strike three called. The long and short of it is he wasn't running hard, and his manager said he's been dealing with hamstring issues. You be the judge. This special ticket package includes an exclusive Shark bobblehead plus your ticket to the June 29th game. We'll have a post-game fireworks show with a Margaritaville themed soundtrack. This limited edition bobblehead is only available through this offer. Purchase at reds.com/themes. First really warm day we've had over the weekend. It's been a beautiful weather weekend, and I guess a lot of the weather from Cincinnati has made its way east here into Pittsburgh. Heard it was very, very hot down at Great American Ballpark last night for that Luke Bryan concert. Huge turnout. Heard it was a great show. We're still waiting for Jeff McCorrow to get that plane here to bring us back for that, Chris.
I think we have a plane to take us back tonight, Tom, so we don't have to worry about it anymore. Maybe the next concert.
Day late, dollar short. Day late.
Pretty much the story of my relationship with you.
Especially again when the dinner tab comes. It's always funny how when that shows up, you and Jim Day are nowhere to be found. There's a bleeder into right field, and dropping in there, a base hit for Casale.
Well, for all the hard hit balls that he has not had the luck of having fallen in, he gets a little jam shot right there to get a first batter base hit here in the third inning.
He's done a nice job. 7 hits for Casale in his first, what now, 16 at bats as a Red. Pretty good. And most of those, as you said, I mean, he has really hit hard. But he'll take that little blooper to start things in the inning. And here's a number 8 batter, DeSclafani. 0 for 4 since coming off the DL without a sacrifice. And I mean, that one was right down the middle of the plate. DeSclafani, even when he was pitching regularly in the Reds rotation for all of 15 and a lot of 16, only had a total of 3 sacrifices in 64 career games, and now that would be in 112 career at bats.
Well, the pressure really in a situation like this, I always think it's on the runner if he's not a very fast runner. Casale being a catcher, first thing he's looking for is that ball going down off the bat. That's when you have to take your break. They'll keep him as close to first base as possible, but you just want to make sure that you don't take an extra lead and then he pops up the bunt and it's a pop-up that goes right back to, say, the catcher or the pitcher.
Well, Musgrove couldn't have put either one of those strikes on a tee for DeSclafani any better. And he's out of there on strikes as that one gets a big chunk of Francisco Cervelli. See where it got him. Oh.
Well, two kinds of pain going through Cervelli right now. Number one is the ball that he just got off the foul ball, and the other is the rob job that Billy Hamilton did of him on that line drive he hit in the gap in the first inning. And you just saw that Cervelli picked up a handful of gravel and dirt and threw it on Billy Hamilton as saying, hey, don't do that again.
And a base hit into right field by Billy. They nearly caught Casale trying to get down to second base.
Well, hit very sharply, number one, and they're playing Billy Hamilton fairly shallow. And number three, Polanco's got a really good arm.
Well, at number four, Casale did not realize that ball had no chance to be caught in right field by Polanco. Just must not have seen it well. Maybe some white shirts over on the third base side couldn't pick the ball up as a runner.
You know, gone are those days of the games on AstroTurf where you would occasionally see a right fielder throw a runner out of first base, a pitcher normally, because they're playing so shallow.
All right, so a scoring chance for the Reds, trailing 1-0. Shebler, the batter, his first time up, popped up in short center field to Josh Harrison. Nice to see Billy get off to a good start today. We know what kind of season he's been having at the plate, and we saw him after the game late yesterday afternoon, early last night, and he's beating himself up pretty good right now the way things are going. And now both runners are going to advance on the wild pitch by Musgrove. Brought up earlier, the Reds are still in search of their first hit with a runner in scoring position in this series. 0 for 12 on Friday night. They left 9 runners on base just in the first 6 innings alone. And then 0 for 7. They really didn't get much going. Had a total of 7 hits, 2 runs, and one of those hits was a home run by Dixon in the 9th inning.
You know, for the Pirates this year, that last wild pitch that got away from Cervelli is the 46th wild pitch they've had. Now, they are by far in first place. They are 12 more than the next number 2 team, which is the Colorado Rockies. Reds are one of the fewest in the leagues. Them and the Mets, 9 and 14. So the Pirates have, you know, basically 32 more wild pitches than do the Reds. And I think a lot of that has to do with the catcher. I mean, not every time does a ball go into dirt does it go to the backstop. You know, Barnhart's learned how to really block just about anything that comes up there. We haven't seen a whole lot of Casale yet to make that determination, but obviously they're not doing the same thing here in Pittsburgh.
Hook to the right side. This will bring in a run. So the Reds tie the game, thanks in large part to the wild pitch by Musgrove. Scoring is Casale. Give Schebler the run batted in, and it's a 1-1 game here in the third with Peraza coming up and Billy to go ahead and run 90 feet away.
So it's little things like that. I'm not really sure how those that really crunch the numbers factor that into, run scoring or defense or not. But I mean, that's a huge play right there, of being able to move those runners up. First of all, you get them out of double play situation, and that would have been a double play ball. And then you put a runner at third base instead of second base. One of the 8 ways you can score from third that you can't score from second, on a ground ball to the infield.
Gonna rip them off?
No.
Why? You got something better to do right now?
Yeah. Trying to figure out how Peraza is going to get this 2-out run in. I'll make a list and we'll do a tech talk on that. How about that?
That's a good idea. You and Jim Day put that thing together, be great. We ought to get Jim Day to go down there and ask the players, do a sit down with all 25 players individually, one after the other, and ask them, almost in a game show kind of thing. Can you name the ways? And here's Peraza. The sinking liner will fall in a hit. So there you have it. Big 2-out hit, and the first hit with a runner in scoring position in this series for the Reds, and it gives them a 2-1 lead in the third.
Well, his trademark little slash right there, little drifting line drive between the center fielder and the right fielder. Well, you do it at the perfect time right there. You drive a run in. So how big was that wild pitch right now?
Oh, boy.
I mean, instead of being out of the inning with a double play ball, this inning continues.
Couple of runs here in the Cincinnati third. And Joey Votto, who struck out his first time up behind in the count to Musgrove at 0-1. And now 0-2.
That's the pitch that he struck Votto out on the first time up, the changeup. Last time up, he gave him a steady diet of early cutters on the outside corner, then ran the count full, fooled Votto on a changeup, and now he's 0-2 again. We'll see what he's got in store.
Ball hit hard, but there to get it is Polanco, and that will end the inning. But the Reds get 2 and lead 2-1 after 2.5.
Suarez as a father.
It's a really good one for me. I feel so great when everybody call me Happy Father's Day. And this morning, my beautiful daughter sent me a video, called me Papa. So it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. I'm so happy, and I try, enjoy my day today.
Suarez is a guy that always has a smile on his face and is always in a good mood. But when you bring up his daughter, Nicole Antonella, who was born in September, he just lights up. He is as proud a father as can be. And he said that video that was sent this morning that he just talked about melted his heart.
Well, he's a very sensitive guy. You can tell that. And a pretty good player as well. He's at third base. DeSclafani's on the mound, and it's Joe Musgrove, the opposing pitcher in the batter's box with a 1-2 count.
And that takes care of him to begin the third inning. Back-to-back strikeouts for DeSclafani. That's his total in the game. So the Princeton Viking turned Cincinnati Bearcat. Josh Harrison will bat here for the second time. Lined out softly to Peraza, leading off the Pittsburgh first inning. 37th game of the year played by Harrison. They remember he got hit with a pitch very early on this season and wound up a number of weeks on the disabled list. Swung on and fouled out of play. Two-time All-Star. Still makes his offseason home in the Queen City. I noticed the other night, as here's strike three to Harrison, that another Cincinnati product from Moeller High, Brent Suter, picked up his 7th win of the year the other night for the Brewers. How about that?
Well, he's been in and out of starting rotation, Suter has, and throwing the ball extremely well. A guy who's doing it really under the radar as far as radar velocity goes. Right now, DeSclafani is all over the corners of the plate. 8 out of 10 first pitch strikes for DeSclafani so far.
Now it's Meadows, make it 9 of 11.
That's a formula for winning. I mean, there's a little things that coaches say along the way, but first pitch strikes, I mean, that has been the go-to motto for pitching coaches for generations.
Slow roller to the right side. Jeanette will glove and throw in time, and that's a snappy 1-2-3 third for DeSclafani. Reds lead at the end of 3 in the series finale 2-1.
by sharing a photo or video with hashtag HatsOffForHeroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
Anthony DeSclafani very, very sharp since giving up the home run to Moran. I mean, that first inning, they hit 2 rockets off DeSclafani, including the unbelievable diving catch in right center made by Billy Hamilton on a ball hit by Cervelli. And then Moran led off the second inning, hitting a long home run to right center. But after that, he's retired 6 of 7, including 4 in a row. Reds have Jeanette, Suarez, Duvall, same trio that went down 1, 2, 3 in the second inning against Musgrove. Scooter popped up to the shortstop his first time up. Musgrove ahead in the count 0-2. He struck out 4.
Musgrove made the kind of a roundabout way to finally end up with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was originally drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays in 2011. He was one of their first-round picks. They had 2 first-round picks that year. And he was the 47th player taken in that first round of the draft. And then he made his way by a trade from the Toronto Blue Jays over to the Houston Astros, and then traded over here in that Garrett Cole trade, who, by the way, was also drafted in that 2011 draft. But for Cole, he was the #1 player in the country taken that year. Just as a little add-on to that, Anthony DeSclafani was also drafted originally by the Toronto Blue Jays before he was traded to Miami, and then subsequently traded up here to the Cincinnati Reds. He in 2008. Well, that 2011 draft year, if you had a chance to pick high enough in the draft, there were some just, but you know, there's some really great players. Garrett Cole, #1. Trevor Bauer was in that draft. Anthony Rendon, Archie Bradley, Francisco Lindor, Javier Baez. They came in the first 9 picks in that draft.
That's a real good at bat right there by Jeanette. Fouling off pitch after pitch after pitch, and caps it off with a base hit into right field.
Kind of a Joey Votto type of bat, really, where you foul off the good pitches and finally get one that you hang up there a little bit and put a line drive swing on it.
Suarez struck out his first time up.
And he struck out on the first pitch he saw, on the same pitch that he saw here in the first pitch in this at bat. That slider that just kind of froze him.
Ran a fastball up and in on him. 1 ball and 1 strike.
You know, just because a pitcher strikes you out on one particular pitch doesn't mean he's going to come right back with it and use it again in the same situation. You may see it in a different sequence.
Great looking shot right there from behind the plate. Out of the skyline of downtown Pittsburgh on the other side of the Clemente Bridge. And this might be out to the Clemente Bridge. Goodbye. 2-run home run by Eugenio Suarez gives the Reds a 4-1 lead. And he has just tried Trevor Story for the league lead in runs batted in with 52 of them. What a season Suarez is having, and we always add the caveat that he missed over 2.5 weeks with a fractured thumb.
Well, it was a breaking ball, the same pitch that he struck out on. This time, however, Joe Musgrove hangs it for him right on the inner part of the plate, up in the zone. All he's got to do is throw the bat head to it. What a nice swing he has. Man, oh man.
Single homer to begin the Reds' 4th inning. And this matches the most runs that Musgrove is allowed. In fact, it is the most runs he's allowed in a Pirate uniform this year. Earned runs, that is. He allowed 4 runs, 3 earned in a game against the Dodgers back on the 5th of June, his only loss. But he's not allowed 4 runs in a start. Straight up in the air into foul territory, and Bell, the first baseman, will come get it. And that's the first out here in the Reds' 4th. And now a quick message from Miami Valley Gaming.
Get ready to get lucky.
So now the batter, Casale, he looped his single into short right field. Went to second on a hit by Hamilton, to third on a wild pitch. Scored on a ground out by Shebler in the Reds' 2-run third. They've tacked on 2 more here in the 4th. Fooled there on the breaking ball, and that's strike 3. 5 of them in the game now for Musgrove. DeSclafani struck out trying to bunt Casale over in the 3rd inning. 0 for 5 as a batter so far this year is DeSclafani. And behind 0-2. Strike 3 on DeSclafani, but the Reds get a 2-run home run by Suarez. Billy Hamilton making great catches on Father's Day. Jim Day has more when we come back.
things happen in the field. Let's take you back to Father's Day 2016. This was in Houston. In fact, he made back-to-back catches in back-to-back games, and this was one of them. Not only the catch, but how about doubling up the runner at first base? Beautiful stuff. Today, a little more horizontal. Unbelievable catch. You guys talked about the 2% probability of catching this ball. Unreal. There have only been 2 catches that have been made this season with a 2% catch probability. He robbed Cervelli, and see what happens in round 2 here.
Do you happen to have any idea, and I don't mean to throw you on the spot, do you have any idea who was the other player that made the 2% catch?
I do not know.
Okay, I'll have to look into that.
Lorenzo Cain, I'm being told.
Well, he's a good outfielder. Can run. Good player. So you did know the answer. Thank you. Nice to see Jim Day not having to sit down there in the camera well all day today with that shirt and tie. It is a hot day today. He would never complain about it. We know that about Jim Day.
That wouldn't do any good.
No, it wouldn't. But I got to tell you, I would go to our bosses and I would ask them. And they might be watching now, so I am asking them. Jim, are you still there by chance?
I'm right here, Tom.
Would you, I mean, you'd be open to a little golf shirt action down there, right?
I would, but I would sit in a fire to do this job.
Really? You do at lunch every day.
As far as, you know what? That's a very good point. That'll be like a firing squad, to be more precise.
Well, that was kind of like you're paraphrasing the line that Pete Rose used to say about playing baseball.
Yeah. Walk through a wall of fire.
Right, walk through hell in a gasoline suit.
There you go. Yeah, it was something like that.
Three balls and 2 strikes a count on Cervelli. Hit off the end of the bat, but he's still hanging around. Bottom of the 4th inning. Reds 4, Pirates 1. Took that ball off the end of the bat and just chipped it right off.
Well, the ones that have the cupped end are the ones that'll do that when you get it right on the cue stick end. Of course, guys have that cupped end because it takes a little bit of weight off the end of the bat, and it makes it a little bit lighter.
Gone swinging on the very next pitch, and DeSclafani's now retired 5 in a row, 4 of the 5 on strikeouts.
Well, that slider of his is really tight and good location.
So now Moran, he hit a long home run to right center field his first time up. He's homered in each of the last 2 games of this series. He has 7 overall on the year and 28 knocked in. DeSclafani up in the air to get it. 2 down. We invite you to keep up with Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio Instagram. Got highlights, player reactions, game insights. Follow Fox Sports OH on Instagram. Corey Dickerson popped up to the second baseman his first time up. 4 runs, 5 hits for the Reds, 1 run, 2 hits for the Buccos. Their only run in both of their hits came in the 2nd inning, and here we are in the bottom of the 4th. Strike 1. 2-1 on Dickerson. And again, pull to the right side. It's back-to-back perfect innings for Anthony DeSclafani. He's retired 7 in a row. We move to the 5th, and the Reds holding a 4-1 lead. By Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. And by your local Ford dealer, Ford, go further. Cheryl and Joey Votto and the Reds, they'll take on the Cubbies beginning Thursday night. You can be there as low as $12. The series presented by Kroger. For tickets, visit Reds.com. Thursday night, Friday night, a 4:10 start on Saturday afternoon, then a 1:10 start on Sunday the 24th. Tigers come in Tuesday night and a 12:35 game on Wednesday. It's really too bad for fans in Cincinnati. They're not going to have a chance to see one of the best players, best hitters in the history of baseball, and there's very little debate about that, in Miguel Cabrera. Tigers slugger. Just injured his triceps muscle last week during the week, and he will not be playing for quite some time. I never heard if he's out for the year, but that's the kind of injury you would think you're out for the year.
Yeah, I don't think they expect him back.
What a career he has had. And I remember like it was yesterday as Billy Hamilton leads off the inning. And Billy, a perfect 2 for 2 in the game. Hooks that one into right field.
Well, maybe that little talk that you had with Billy Hamilton yesterday after the ball game beginning to pay off.
I'm sure. Felt bad for him. He was really down yesterday. He was sitting by himself, sitting down to dinner, and he was really, really, really down. And I just asked him about it. You know, you hanging in there, and he scuffling. So Hamilton, 11 stolen bases. He's been thrown out 3 times. We'll see what kind of move and what kind of delivery Musgrove has. I mean, that's a lot of long body to get everything going in the right direction to the plate. And he picked his leg high up in the air on that first pitch. Ball 1 to Scott Shevlin. It was the first time Hamilton's seen him too. Now he's looked at him on video, but first time he's ever been standing with a lead over at first with Musgrove on the mound. There goes Billy. Got a late start. Cervelli from his knees and not going to be in time. Hamilton with number 12. Good throw by Cervelli.
Boy, I mean, on the money, even though it did bounce. A nice pickup on a short hop by the shortstop. I mean, that ball couldn't have been thrown more accurately.
Down to third base line in foul territory, and that's 2 rows out of play. IGS bringing the energy. Billy with 53 in his career against these Pirates. Jose Reyes inside the National League East. The only active player with more against a single opponent. Well, there was a time when Reyes was as exciting a player as there was in baseball for about a 4 or 5 year run. He was something else to watch.
I think back then, though, the stolen base was more of a weapon used by teams. I mean, you just don't see it very much. Ender Inciarte is leading all the major leagues with 20. He and Trey Turner have 20. D. Gordon at 19. Billy Hamilton is tied for 17th. Actually tied for 13th now that he picked up that one here at second base. I think pitchers have gotten so good at holding runners on, most of them, and catchers have gotten very good with the accuracy and the strength of their arms. He's got a huge lead out there at second base. At the very least, it has to be distracting to Musgrove.
Two and two on Schebler, who's 0 for 2. He knocked in a run with a ground out to the second baseman Harrison in the 3rd inning. Three balls, 2 strikes on Schebler, with Billy taking his lead at second base, and there's ball 4. First walk of the game given up by Musgrove.
And you wonder if maybe a little bit of that was the distraction of Hamilton at second base. I mean, he's jockeying back and forth. His shortstop's going back and forth.
We'll see if this is a bunt situation for Peraza. He is without question the best bunter on this Reds team. He has 4 sacrifices. That's more than anybody, with the exception of Homer Bailey, who had 5 while he was part of the Reds starting rotation, and Ray Searage, pitching coach, out to chat with Musgrove.
Well, they're talking about bunt defense entirely in this. This isn't a trip to the mound to try to pick up Musgrove or give him any kind of tips. It's about what kind of defense the Pirates are going to play right here. And they've got a variety of different plays that they'll do. The basic play is where the pitcher has to rush to the third baseline and the third baseman stays at home. It's a forced play at third base, but you have one of the fastest guys in baseball there standing at second.
Peraza went all the way back to the dugout and was chatting down there with Jim Riggleman, and doesn't even look down to Billy Hatcher for a sign. Bunted, foul.
See, before I would have even delivered that ball to the plate, I would have tried to pick off at second base first, just to try to shorten up Billy Hamilton a little bit, because he is literally 1/3 of the way to third base when that ball is being delivered. Now, where you can run into a problem by getting that big of a lead, of course, is if he happens to pop it up and you're not able to get back in time.
Can't do any better than that, and everybody's going to be safe.
Well, Colin Moran is in no man's land. I mean, where he was right there did him absolutely no good at all. You either should charge that ball to call the pitcher off of it, or you should go back and play third base. But he just basically has got a ticket in his hand. He's not sure what to do. Maybe he read it like he wasn't sure whether Musgrove was going to be able to get off the mound to get that or not. But the Reds get a break, and they have the bases loaded for Joey Votto.
That'll be a bunt single for Peraza, so he has 2 hits in the game along with an RBI. And here is Joey Votto with the bases loaded and nobody out. Reds trying to blow this one wide open in the 5th. Ball 1. Votto 0 for 2 is struck out, hit the ball very hard his last time up when he lined out to right. Votto is not homered in over a calendar month, a total in 29 games. His last home run was on May the 13th in Los Angeles. This ball driven into right center field, and it's up against a wall. 2 runs are going to score on a double by Votto. They will hold the runner. Peraza at third base, and now he overran the bag, and he will be tagged out. Don't know where Peraza was going, and Billy Hatcher is just standing there in utter disbelief. Hands on hips and cannot believe it. So a 2-run double for Joey makes it a 6-1 game.
Well, we'll take another look at it. Votto hits it well into the gap in right center field. Watch Peraza here. He's at first base, and eventually we're going to give him a shot of that. Polanco gets the ball back into the cutoff man, and Billy Hatcher is going to hold Peraza. He's got both hands up halfway down the line to make sure he doesn't go past the bag. But there he is, halfway, hung up in no man's land, and eventually tagged out by Josh Bell. Boy, the Reds base running. You know, if you only did one thing, which was follow the motto of run with your head up, you wouldn't run into nearly as many outs.
This will be our skyline. Two runs in each of their last 3 at-bats, and they're not finished, at least trying to add another run against Dovydas Neverauskas. He comes on from the Pirate bullpen to replace Musgrove.
Lithuanian-born right-hander, 25 years old. First Lithuanian to play in the major leagues when they called him up in April of last year.
First bad outing for Musgrove Since being activated from the disabled list and inserted to the Pirates starting rotation, he had been pitching really, really well going into the game today. I mean, the ball been jumping off Reds batters here the last 3 innings after being retired 1, 2, 3 in each of the first 2 innings. Scooter Gennett, the batter, with Votto at second base and 1 out and a 6-1 Reds lead in the 5th.
I have to go back and count them, but the Reds have been very good in the 3rd game of a 3-game series after they dropped the first 2. I mean, I think their record is really unbelievable on that getaway game.
Well, you'd be right. They've won the last 4 games where they've gone into the final game of the series after having dropped the first 2. And in fact, that's one of our Elk and Elk storylines. They lost their first 5 of those games to begin the year, but won their last 4, including their last 4 when facing a sweep against the Pirates. So Neverauskas walks Gennett. Still nobody out.
1 out.
Or 1 out, I'm sorry, on the bases by Peraza. Thank you. Suarez struck out in the 2nd inning, and then his last at bat with a man aboard. Clubbed one to the seats in left field, his 14th of the year. And a little dancing in the dugout alongside Billy Hamilton. Do you think Jim Day knows those dances?
He may have taught them.
We got to make sure we ask Jim about that.
I mean, they're clearly have been practiced.
Yes, no doubt about it. And you know, they're unique to each player after hitting a home run. But I wonder if Jim's a part of that thing. We'll hunt him down here shortly. He was bouncing around the ballpark. Phillies in the 3rd inning, a 2-1 lead in Milwaukee. Rubber game of that series. Later tonight, the Cubs and the Cardinals will square off. Cubbies going for the weekend sweep of their longtime rivals in St. Louis to boot. Gone swinging Suarez. That was a funny follow through there, and you saw him shake his hand in discomfort or shoulder. Hand came off the bat.
I think just the hand came off the bat right there.
Two away in the inning, and Duvall with runners at first and second base. Adam looks at a first pitch fastball, a strike. He is struck out and fouled out to Josh Bell. Neverauskas in relief of Musgrove, who has touched up for 6 so far today. And the runner at second base, Votto, belongs to him. Gennett belongs to Neverauskas. Indians a 4-1 lead in the fifth inning at home against Minnesota. Minnesota trying to go in there and sweep the Tribe in Cleveland. 3-game series over the weekend, winning the first 2. That is a division where only one team is over the 500 mark. That would be the division leading Tribe, and they're just 3 games over. Just when you think they're starting to go into another gear, they seem to take a step or 2 back.
Well, they've had a tough time winning on the road this year, the Indians have. 4 games under on the road, 7 games over when they play up at home. Reds, of course, will play a home-and-home series with the Indians a little later on this summer.
Always look forward to that. That'll be in Cleveland July the 9th, 10th, and 11th, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights. And then the Indians come to Cincinnati in the middle of August. 3 straight night games, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm betting they have about a 8 to 10 game lead in their division by the time August comes around. Not so sure about July, because that takes some work to do.
Yeah, well, they're 2.5 now. And they've lost a couple in a row. The Tigers, who are coming into town next for the Reds, have won 4 in a row. Twins are 5 games under. White Sox and Royals having tough years. Neverauskas is a guy that likes to make the most of his appearance on the mound as far as number of pitches he throws in each inning. He went 3-2 to Suarez before he got a strikeout. He ended up walking Jeanette the first batter he's faced. And here he is, a full count again with 2 outs. Runners will be off on this offering.
Soft liner caught by the shortstop, and that will end the inning. But the Reds get a bases loaded 2-run double by Joey and lead 6-1.
Very special day in which he proposed to his future bride. It happened in Washington Square Park in New York. It was all by design.
I got down on my knee and I read the paper, which was perfect, and obviously said yes, and you know, everyone started clapping, and it was definitely a moment that ended up turning a lot better, you know, in person than what I envisioned in my head. You know, just from, you know, the couple that helped set everything up. It turned out beautiful, and, you know, there actually being a crowd. It was a beautiful night. It was right at, I mean, the sun was super close to setting, and you know, it was great.
So imagine that. We're talking brownie points for life here. He set this up big time. He knew the pianist Colin Huggins, who played in Washington Square Park in New York City. So she goes, Lauren goes into this park. They have no idea. The pianist is playing their favorite song. There's petals of flowers on the ground. By then a crowd had gathered around. He knew no one there, and he got on his knee and proposed. It turned out perfectly. And again, brownie points for life.
Well, let's stop there, okay? Because once they hit about the 17, 18-year mark, those are long forgotten. We all agree with that.
Wow.
But I want to move on for a second. I want to ask you, Jim Day, how did you propose to your bride?
Wow, you put me on the spot here.
Well, come on.
What I did was, it was in winter. It was during Christmas time. So I gathered her entire family and my entire family, giant Christmas tree in Columbus.
Right.
And took her there, and she saw all of her family there, and she had no idea. And it was a big crowd gathered. It was much like this. Big crowd had gathered, and I did it in front of both families.
That is great stuff. That's cool.
Idea.
That's very cool.
And it was after a horse carriage ride.
Really?
We rode up in a horse carriage.
That's big league.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's really big league. And it's a big league drive. And Polanco has homered to straightaway center field.
The advantage of having a little bit of offense on your side. Solo shots by the Pirates today. Colin Moran in the second. This solo shot by Gregory Polanco right out the front door. But the Reds still have a 4-run lead. That's only 3 hits in the ballgame given up by DeSclafani. Josh Bell led the inning off with a line drive with a nice catch by Scott Schebler on it.
Jordy Mercer struck out looking against DeSclafani in the second inning. First time in a long while Polanco had been the last base hit for the Bucks. This run that, as Chris alluded to, DeSclafani had been on until that home run. But he's still sitting on a 4-run lead here in the bottom of the 5th inning. DeSclafani throws a left leg into the air and misses low and away. 2-2 on Mercer. Now the pitcher spot due up next. In the air, right center field. Schebler waves off Billy, and that's out number 2. Well, after a day off tomorrow, the Reds swing into summer interleague action. They host the Tigers for a 2-game set beginning Tuesday night and again Wednesday afternoon. Our coverage Tuesday gets started with Reds Live at 6:30 on Fox Sports Ohio or streaming on Fox Sports Go. Swing into summer presented by Click It or Ticket. Tigers have beaten the Reds 4 in a row. We talked about Miguel Cabrera. Reds have been off to a good start in interleague play this year.
Yeah, that's usually one of the problems when you look at the end of the year and you say what derailed this ball club. It's oftentimes interleague play.
Yeah. So Nevaraka's taken down for the pinch hitter Diaz. He got the start in the game here last night and hit a home run, his 5th of the year in 4 at-bats. Boy, DeSclafani none too happy the time was granted there. He had started into his windup, and the umpire allowed Diaz to call timeout to fix his batting gloves. And a look of utter disgust on the face of DeSclafani. Two delivery. Off the mound to the shortstop Peraza, and his throw is in time. Votto able to keep that toe down on the bag. A solo home run by Polanco, but the Reds lead by 4. Weekend, a real easy drive getting from Cincinnati to Pittsburgh. And of course, there are a lot of Reds fans all over the eastern edge of the state, up and down the state. So a lot of folks make the trip in from places like Athens or Chillicothe or Zanesville or Steubenville, among others. Tyler Glasnow, highly touted prospect for a long time. They figured he would be a starter, and who knows, maybe one day he will be one again. But right now he's been working out of the bullpen exclusively.
And he's been doing quite well.
One pitch to get one out on Casali. Well, they've got some quick triggers here in this place about some of the little things they do depending on the outcome of a play. Like that one right there, the Elvis song, right?
Yeah.
Comebacker to the mound, and I mean right now, bang. Return to sender. It's pretty good.
It's like the old radio stations. They used to have cards ready to go. They would pull them out and be able to stick it in immediately.
That's
of course,
right.
now those are all digitized on the computer. What was the name of the gentleman that runs the music here? We saw him last night.
Yeah, I drew a blank. Yep. Does a great job.
Yes, he does.
And we talk about it from time to time. The sound system in this ballpark is just, it's just so good. We go to some other places where it's good, but there's something that just seems especially crystal clear in this ballpark. Not too loud, not too soft. It's perfect. DeSclafani has struck out twice. And that one into center field, and DeSclafani his first hit of this season in his 7th at bat.
Always feels good when you get a knock. Going right back through the middle, 2 ground balls in a row, right back to Glass. Now not able to track that one down. Well, that last pitch by Glass, now our radar gun has it at 99 miles per hour. I mean, he was always a hard thrower in the minor leagues, which is one reason why he was one of those uber prospects. But it just didn't translate for him up here in the major league level. But now that he's been put in the bullpen, shorter outings, his stuff has played up considerably. Pitched on Friday night, a 3-batter inning against the Reds.
You can see him developing into a closer for this team if he keeps going forward.
Could be. I mean, they've got a number of arms that are right in that race. They think that perhaps of Michael Feliz. Kyle Crick, who came in and pitched the 8th inning on Friday night, he has got a nice arm.
Fly ball to left field. Well, with the Tigers coming in, the guys back in Cincinnati are going to give you a little Tiger preview on what's going on with their game today against the White Sox. Coming up here in a moment. Philly a 4-2 lead over Milwaukee. That game in the 4th inning at Miller Park. I'll tell you, the team that continues to play good baseball is Atlanta, winning 2-0 at home over San Diego. Won again last night. They are 41-29. That is the 2nd, maybe the 3rd best record in the National League, behind the Brewers and the Cubbies. And they have a 2.5-game lead over the Washington Nationals. We'll see the Braves on the road next week. There's one, and no return throw with Hamilton running. And speaking of the Tigers, how about him, Jeff Piccoro? All right, Pick, thank you very much. Here's Schebler will bat for the 4th time already, and we're in the top of the 6th inning. Reds with a 6-2 lead over the Pirates. And again, a reminder, with the Tigers in town, that's a night game on Tuesday night and a 12:35 game on Wednesday. Hamilton picked up his 12th stolen base of the year when he stole 2nd in the 5th inning and wound up scoring 1 of 2 runs in the inning. Hamilton takes off, and Schebler foul tips it. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's interesting here on the scoreboard. They put up some of the StatCast averages and information on each player when they come up for a second or a third time. And you look up there for Scott Schebler, for example. His average exit velocity is a couple of miles per hour higher than the major league average, right around 88. Schebler's right at 90. And then, Chris, the one you really like and talk about frequently is the launch angle. Schebler does not have a big uppercut swing.
No, he hits a lot of line drives. That's why his launch angle is actually less than the major league average.
By nearly 5 degrees.
Of course, that can be a little deceiving, that launch angle. And I don't know, maybe you can explain it to me, Tom.
Please. I can explain it.
Well, I mean, the average major league launch angle is 12.5.
Right.
But in order to hit a home run, you've got to have it more in the 25 range. Yeah.
Okay.
Because that gives you the trajectory of the ball carrying out of the ballpark. Now, you could hit one lower than that as long as you hit it really, really hard.
Swing and a miss, and that ball gets by Cervelli, and he'll throw down to first, and still in time to get Schebler, or was it?
Pretty good recovery. They're going to take a look at that.
Pat Kelly telling him to hang on a minute. So they're not going to challenge the call here. Pennsylvania. Reds will be on the way back home following the game this afternoon.
And a nice outing already for Anthony DeSclafani here.
Well, he went 5 innings in each of his first 2 starts. So if he records a single out in this inning, that will be a season best. This is his 3rd start since coming back. And today he has only allowed a total of 3 base hits. We mentioned coming into the game, in 10 innings he had surrendered 16 base hits. Fly ball center off the bat of Harrison. Billy a step in, now 4 or 5 paces in retreat. Live coverage of the FIFA World Cup continues tomorrow at 7 a.m. Eastern on FS1 as Sweden takes on Korea Republic. Then on Fox, Belgium battles Panama at 10, followed by Tunisia against England at 1 o'clock. World Cup Monday on Fox and FS1, or stream it all live on the Fox Sports app. Good stuff. With the United States not in that tournament, Chris Welsh, do you have a team that you find yourself rooting for?
I think I'm going to root for Mexico this year.
Very nice.
How about you?
I don't know yet. I got to see who gets out of the first round. Then I'll jump on board. That would be pool play for those that, you know, are on the inside. It's really so hard to believe when you think about that whole soccer thing, the men versus the women as an example. But I just find it so fascinating how the U.S. women are the dominant team in the world. Now, I know they don't win the World Cup every year. I understand that. But they're one of the 2 or 3 superpowers of that sport every year. As Hamilton will go get this deep drive into left center field off the bat of Meadows for the second out of the inning. And yet the men's team, with all of the money that has been poured into that sport across the United States and all the millions and millions of kids that are playing that game, why have the women so extraordinarily well excelled and the men have not?
Well, you're probably not the only one asking that question.
You got that right. Two down in the inning for Cervelli. Off-speed pitch, he just got away from DeSclafani there. Cervelli is lined out, had that drive to right center field in the first inning. If you've not seen the catch made by Billy Hamilton on that ball, you will see it all night long and into tomorrow. And then Cervelli struck out against DeSclafani in the fourth inning. Here's a 3-1. And he walked him. First walk. We'll show it to you. Unbelievable. It's going to be all for DeSclafani. He goes 5 2/3. Only 81 pitches in the game for DeSclafani, and getting taken out of the game. All right, Amir Garrett coming in. We're back in a moment.
DeSclafani done for the day, but boy, good outing for Anthony here today. 5 2/3 innings of 2-run baseball. Walked 1, struck out 4 on the day, and he will give way to the left-hander Amir Garrett as we get to the left-hand part of the Pirates order. Colin Moran and Corey Dickerson if Garrett is unable to get the first batter out. Garrett, outstanding year. 32 games, and he has become more and more the go-to guy in a lefty situation. Only the last few times that we have seen him come into a ball game, it has been one really orchestrated by Jim Riggleman to come in and get this one left-hander out. We'll see how he does right here.
4 strikeouts in 5 2/3 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk for DeSclafani, in line to pick up his first win in a long time. He did not pitch at all, of course, last year. It would be his first win since 2016. Or I beg your pardon, that was when he picked up his last. The start already this year was his first win since 16, trying to pick up his second win this year. Colin Moran, a home run to deep right center in the second inning. That's where he hit his home run to deep right center in the third here last night. You know, time will tell on this trade that the Pirates made involving Garrett Cole with the Astros, but at least here on the surface, for the first 2 months and 2 weeks of a season. Now, Feliz has had his ups and downs in the bullpen, but I think everybody agrees he looks like he has a chance to be a pretty good pitcher down there in that bullpen. Musgrove, 5 starts. Today's the first bad one he's had. And then there's Moran, all for Garrett Cole.
Well, they've got 3 big leaguers, and not all of them are going to pan out, you wouldn't think. I mean, the odds are against that anyway, but, you know, they're all at this level right now, which is an important thing. That's what I said earlier about a lot of people thought that I guess when you are in the position the Houston Astros are in, you can overpay a little bit and not worry about it.
Better believe it. So Garrett does his job taking care of Moran.
I can tell you early on it looked like his breaking ball was going to be a really good pitch, and it was. He didn't have a ton of strikeouts, but he struck out 4 and 5 1/3 around the strike zone, only walked 1.
And the Reds offense has been more than enough. Peraza broke a 1-1 tie with a 2-out single to right center. First hit with a runner in scoring position in this series by a Reds. Suarez, a 2-run home run in the 4th, and a bases loaded 2-run double by Joey Votto. Reds scoring 2 in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th, 2 more in the 5th. Pirates got a home run by Polanco in the bottom of the 5th inning, and now you're up to speed. 6-2. Reds lead. They bat in the 7th. Votto, Jeanette against Glass now, on for his 2nd inning of work. Allowed to hit, no runs in the 6th. Moran down on a knee to get it, and will throw out Peraza. Jose, another 2-hit game today, and 2 hits here on Friday night. Votto struck out, line to right, and had a 2-run double in the 5th inning, giving him 32 runs batted in.
Yeah, it really worked out great that inning where the Reds scored a couple of runs, and part of it was that Peraza bunt that turned into a bunt base hit. That puts him in the lead, by the way, in the National League in number of bunt hits. I think he's got 7 or 8 now.
Very good bunter.
Make that 4 strikeouts for D-score. D-score 81 total pitches, 55 strikes, 81, 5-5.
Votto taking a lot of time getting in the box here on a 3-0 count. I'm thinking he's ready to wheel that lumber on this count. You don't see many of those, which is a check swing on a 3-0 count.
And he draws a walk with 1 out here in the 7th. As part of the Ohio Lottery postgame concert series, Cincinnati's very own Walk the Moon will be performing a live concert right on the field on Saturday, July the 28th. So if you have a ticket to the Reds game that night, they'll be battling the Arizona Diamondbacks. You can enjoy the show. Walk the Moon. Log on to Reds.com/concerts. A lot of great concerts. Jake Owen coming in soon. That'll be after a game. They give the force out at second base on the slow roller from Jeanette, and that'll be the 2nd out of the inning. Eugenio Suarez struck out twice, but more importantly, he's hit a 2-run home run. Two down here in the Reds' 7th inning. Popped up into short right field. Polanco camps underneath it, and that'll do it in the 7th inning. 1 man left. Keep it right here for the singing of God Bless America, as we do every single Sunday. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers in the world out there. Hope you're having an awesome day.
Today, the Pirates and Sport Clips welcome Pennsylvania National Guard Staff Sergeant Jason Toya. Sergeant Toya will be celebrating his 20th anniversary with the National Guard this year, having been deployed twice in support of Operation Iraqi and Enduring Freedom. We are thrilled to have him at the game today, celebrating Father's Day with his 3 daughters. Ladies and gentlemen, please help us in thanking Jason Toya for his service to our country. And now here to lead us with God Bless America is the Pittsburgh Opera's own Danielle Pastime.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Presented by Kroger. You can be there as low as $12. Jim Day will be there. For tickets, visit Reds.com. Amir Garrett came on to get the final out in the sixth. Pirates bat in the seventh with the Reds leading 6-2. Anthony DeSclafani, the front five and 2/3. 3 hits, 2 runs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. Closed the door on his afternoon. Indians still leading Minnesota 4-1 in the seventh. Phillies 4, Brewers 2 in the fifth in Milwaukee. You said you were checking out some of the comments made by the one-time Red John Lamb.
Well, he pitched yesterday for the Angels, and he left the game winning. He only gave up, I think, a couple of runs in 5 innings.
Yep.
And, you know, he made it to the major leagues because the Angels have had a rash of injuries there to their starting pitchers. I think they put 3 pitcher starters on the DL in 10 days, and they needed him, and there he was, healthy enough to play. Been through a lot. And it was a typical John Lamb post-game interview where he just said, you know, how'd you feel out there, John? I had a great time. And that was basically about it. They were a little bummed out, I think, that the bullpen blew the lead. They ended up losing 6-4, I think, in that ball game. But congratulations to John Lamb for getting back out there. Always a good guy to talk to.
Oh, yeah. Happy guy. And, of course, the other two pitchers that came over in that deal, that was a Johnny Cueto deal. Both of them are in the starting rotation down in Louisville, although Brandon Finnegan coming off a very rough outing. 4+ innings, 7 runs. And the other pitcher, of course, is Cody Reed.
I think that John Lamb was as close a player that I've ever met to a former roommate of mine, Bill Spaceman Lee.
Yeah.
And I was always wondering if I'd meet another player, and of course it would have to be a left-handed pitcher, that would remind me of the Spaceman. Yeah, it was John Lamb. Now you probably ask, well, where did you ever room with the Spaceman?
I was getting ready to ask you that.
And that was the senior professional league.
I remember going down there.
For the St. Pete Pelicans.
Yes.
Played together.
I remember that.
In fact, he was my roommate when we went on the road. We didn't go too many road trips. And Doc Ellis, the former Pittsburgh Pirate, great Pittsburgh Pirate pitcher, was our pitching coach. So we had some stories to talk about down in the bullpen, I can guarantee you.
There's no doubt about that. Yeah, Spaceman Lee used to come rolling into Cincinnati about every couple of years. He had a van, and I don't know if it was his wife or his girlfriend, but he always loved going to the Blind Lemon in Mount Adams. And he would just show up, you know, say 7, 8 o'clock on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, passing through town. He'd go in and see his friend Ed Shepard, our friend, hang out for a little bit, shoot the breeze, jump back in the van, off he'd go. Might never see him again.
To parts unknown.
That's right. Did you like the Spaceman?
Oh, loved him. Really. I mean, the guy was a genius when it came to evaluating and talking about baseball. In fact, I would think that he's probably still playing, because he played for a long time after his major league days were over in, you know, those senior amateur leagues, go down and play in the Roy Hobbs tournaments and so on. What a great guy. The loft.
It's all right.
But it was a lot of fun rooming with him. And just hearing those stories in the bullpen.
Did you ever talk to him about throwing that Ephus pitch to Tony Perez in the World Series?
Of course.
What do you say about it? You remember?
Yeah, typical stuff that, you know, didn't think he was going to hit it 5 miles.
He had a good career. Swing and a miss, and Amir Garrett has struck out all 3 batters he's faced since coming in from the bullpen. What a year this guy is having.
You know, it's amazing. At the very beginning of the year and in spring training, Amir Garrett wanted to be included in that starter competition. And then when he made the team as a reliever, there was no bad blood at all. He said, I'll just do what you ask me to do. I just want to be in the big leagues. I don't want to be down in the minor leagues stretching myself out in AAA. And he has just really excelled here out of the bullpen to the point now he doesn't want to go back and be considered as a starter right now.
Well, now he'll face a left-handed batting Polanco. A perfect day for him, a single and a solo home run.
I mean, this gives him a chance when he comes out to dominate for an inning at a time, or an inning and a half at a time, or even a batter at a time. And the basketball mentality that he has, that he really spent more time playing basketball than baseball in his life. I mean, that plays out better in a short, short outing as a reliever than it does as a starter. The other thing that I think that people overlook when they start talking about, you know, stretching their guys out and making them starters, and we want them to be a starter in the minor leagues and go right into being starter in the big leagues, they don't remember, because most of them have never played, what it's like to get knocked around a couple of starts in a row. And no matter what, your confidence is shaken. Whereas a reliever, I mean, and you're talking about now a 2-week period of time. 3 times that you get knocked around, and it's been 3 weeks or 2 weeks since you've had a good outing. As a reliever, you can get back in there the very next day or the day after that. And that's the most difficult, I think, obstacle for young pitchers who are starters to overcome, that is completely overlooked by a lot of people making the decisions on where they go and how they're being used.
Trying to get Polanco to chase a couple of breaking balls at 1 and 2 and again on 2 and 2. So now the count runs full. Garrett trying for a 1-2-3 7th. A strike away and out away. Oh my.
Too close to take anyway. Pitch number 6.
Get $5,500 purchase allowance on most Buick Envision models.
Strike one to Jordy Mercer, who struck out and fly to right. 6 runs, 9 hits for the Reds, 2 runs, 3 hits for the Pirates. They've only had 1 hit since they scored their only run. That was a solo home run by Moran in the 2nd inning. And a single by Polanco in that inning, and now making 2 hits on the single by Mercer.
Get $5,500 purchase allowance on most Buick Envision models.
David Freese, the announced pinch hitter after a 2-out walk and a 2-out single to Polanco and Mercer. And here comes Jim Riggleman. Now with a right-handed batter coming up, we're going to have another pitching change. We're back in a moment.
Father's Day memory, 2012, Brandon Phillips between the legs. How do you do? Double play. Boy, did we grow used to this over the years. June 17th, Father's Day. Another Father's Day memory.
Well, I can pick it. I mean, you two guys, you know, the laughs you two would share together as Blandino comes in the game. And also coming into the game is the one-time Pirate, Jared Hughes.
Well, he's got a couple of runners on base and 1 right-hander to get. The pinch hitter David Freese steps in.
Freese looks at a strike. Good outing by Tyler Glass now. Couple of innings, 1 hit, 1 strikeout, 1 walk, no runs. It's a big out in this game. You roll back over to the top of the order next, and Hughes trying to pick up the final out. In there, a strike. to get ahead 0-2 on Freeze.
I'm a little surprised that Freeze is not a little bit more aggressive facing Jared Hughes. You figure you're going to get a strike, and usually, you know, the first one you get is going to be a fastball. That may be the most hittable one of the at-bat. Now Hughes can expand the zone a little bit. Great pitch there. 0-2 count. About 3 inches lower than the previous pitch.
And a base hit into center field. That'll bring in another run. And that makes it 6-3. As Freeze, for the second time in this series, delivers a run-scoring pinch hit single.
Well, you live by the ground ball and you die by the ground ball, the old saying among pitchers, and this is a good pitch by Jared Hughes, but Freeze just kind of throws his bat at it, and it creates enough overspin to get it into center field. Now Harrison's one who'll be a little aggressive, and Hughes probably knows that.
And that was a 2-out walk, that run that came around to score. Garrett had come in and struck out the final batter for the final out in the 6th inning. He struck out the first 2 batters in the 7th, and really got cute. Way too fine with Polanco.
Well, yeah, and I think the ball 4 pitch was a breaking ball.
Yeah, and so was the 1-2 pitch and the 2-2 pitch.
This one gets away from Barnhart just temporarily. Or Casale, I mean. Kerf's able to hold it back to keep the runner at first base Freeze from going a second, but run number 4 standing out there at third base.
And another base hit into center field. And it brings in another run, and all of a sudden there is major league trouble a-brewing here in Pittsburgh. It's a 2-run game. 4 straight have reached after Garrett struck out the first 2 batters in this inning.
You know what the last 2 batters for the Pirates have taught me is the value of putting the bat on the ball. Because they're seeing eye base hits. I mean, they're just ground balls, not a whole lot on them, but they happen to be in the right spot.
That's why those that make the argument about what's the difference between a strikeout or any other out, and out is an out, it's just not accurate.
I'm with you 100%.
It's just not accurate. There's so many things that can go wrong for the defense when you put a ball in play. That does not happen when a batter strikes out. Doesn't always have to be the seeing eye single. Be a bobble, be a bad throw. Maybe the first baseman doesn't catch a ball. Who knows?
Which is also, on the other side of that, Tom, a reason why so many teams want those pitchers that produce a lot of strikeouts.
Austin Meadows 0 for 3. Pull to the right side should be the final out of the inning. Votto to Hughes, and that's that. They get 2, Strand 2. We go to the 8th. Reds lead by 2. Angeles right-hander Michael Feliz. We saw him for an inning yesterday, allowed a solo home run to Brandon Dixon, the first home run of his major league career. Reds will have Duvall, Casale, and then Blandino coming up here in the 8th inning. Ball out of there on strikes. Casale in the game, 1 of 3, singled and scored the first Reds run. That was back in the 3rd inning. Feliz delivers a strike. He has since struck out and bounced out to the mound. Slow roller, and this will be an infield hit for Casale.
Waving kind of a magic wand today is Casale. He blooped one in over the first baseman's head for his first hit back in the 3rd inning, and this one a swinging bunt perfectly placed.
(6-4) Reds lead, and here's Blandino batting for the first time since coming on as part of that double switch when Jared Hughes came in. Reds using 3 pitchers to get a total of 4 outs. When they lift DeSclafani, bring in Garrett, and then Hughes comes in to get the final out in the 7th inning. Runner goes, and a foul ball out of play. Hope all the dads out there are having a great day on this Father's Day 2018. Runner going again, and a throw down to second base, and that's no contest. Playing a little hit and run, and when Blandino missed it, there was no chance for Casale.
Well, it was a tough pitch as far as trying to make contact right there. You see the abbreviated hesitant swing by Blandino, but up and in is about the spot you want to throw it if you think that you're sniffing out a hit and run.
There's a pretty nifty pickup down there by Josh Harrison. That was not a great throw by Cervelli. So 2 down, and that's strike 3 called to Blandino. 1 hit, nobody left, middle of the 8th. Reds in front, 6-4. And then join the boys 6:30 p on Tuesday night, high noon on Wednesday. Tigers coming into town. Matthew Boyd, Michael Fulmer. Boyd having a good year. Real good. Romano and Malley for the Redlegs. Jared Hughes, a clean inning, allowed a couple of base hits, bringing in a couple of runs. Both of those runs charged to Amir Garrett. So the Pirates down by 2 as they bat here in the last of the 8th inning, and still waiting on Cervelli is Hughes to get in the box. He finally does. Ball 1. It's a big inning. I mean, not to say the bottom of the order can't hurt you, because they have today. I mean, you've got Polanco, a couple of hits, has scored a couple of runs, has hit a home run. Mercer has a hit, has scored a run. Pinch hitter's driven in a run. But there's a reason why these guys bat 3, 4, and 5.
And it's one of those innings that is a head-scratching, perplexing inning for so many managers. Because a lot of times, you know, what they'll say in spring training is, oh, you know, when a game is on the line, the really high leverage inning, I'm bringing my best pitcher in. But when it comes down to actually doing that in the season, the guy who closes out the games gets the saves in the 9th inning, even if he's pitching against numbers, you know, 7, 8, 9 in the order. And the setup guy is the guy that has to work his way through the middle of the order.
And the Reds are going to get Iglesias cranked up just in case they need him here in the 8th. Hoping that Jim Day will have one of those interviews with one of the Reds players on the field. That always means a Reds win.
What I'm finding interesting about Iglesias being warmed up right here is that Wandy Peralta would be a guy that you would think that they would start getting loose, because you have left-handers coming up here, Moran and Dickerson, then the switch hitter Bell. But at this late stage of the game, it looks like he's out of the picture today.
Well, I mean, you got to wonder really what kind of confidence they have in Wandy Peralta right now. I mean, let's be honest about it. Jim Riggleman said all the right things after the game here on Friday night, but Peralta's having a hard time. Straight away center. Cervelli not going to be happy. He thought he had walked. See if he says a little something to the umpire trotting back. He's going to run back behind him, so if he's going to say something, he'll say it here.
Taking a long way home. Of course, he might mumble something in Italian, and Tim Timmons would have no idea what it meant.
Maybe. Maybe. You know, we're going to have to ask him the next time. I'm going to ask Francisco Cervelli. Now, because you hear his last name, obviously there is Italian in his family.
I think his mother is Italian. Yes. His father is Venezuelan.
No, his dad is Italian.
Oh, is it the other way around?
Okay. Other way around.
Okay.
And he was born and grew up in Venezuela. So, you know, and that's a Spanish-speaking country. So I would wonder if there was any Italian being spoken in his household growing up. He played for Italy a couple of times during the World Baseball Classic, not Venezuela. That'll be the second out of the inning.
So far, so good for Jared Hughes right here. Nice, clean start to this inning. Hey, want to congratulate everybody who was involved in the Gene Bennett Classic. It wrapped up today out there in Portsmouth, and the winners of that tournament, congratulations to them. They came all the way from Canada. The Great Lakes Canadians beat the host team, the Portsmouth Post 23, 5-4 in a nail biter, and I'm sure it was a great weekend for baseball.
Oh, yeah. Our late great friend, one of the most beautiful men, beautiful people you'd ever want to meet in your lifetime, Gene Bennett.
Sure was.
Nothing and 1 the count on Dickerson with 2 down and nobody on. Boy, Hughes is just standing there wondering, is anybody going to bat in this inning? He was standing on the rubber twice waiting for Dickerson to get in the box. And the umpire doesn't say a word about it. Swinging a foul ball out of play, 0-2. That'll be an infield hit for Dickerson all the way. So the tying run will come to the plate after that infield single. And I would imagine that Jim Riggleman is wrestling with the idea of bringing in Iglesias right now.
Well, you know he is, because he's kind of pacing back and forth in place. One step up on the dugout, one step down. There's Iglesias in the bullpen. He ought to be ready by now.
Who knows, maybe Iglesias isn't ready to come into a game. Bell serves it foul off to the third base side out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Bell looks like he's really reaching to get to that sinking fastball that runs away from him down there.
One ball, 1 strike. Bell, powerful hitter, tying run to the plate in his 2-run game in the 8th with 2 outs.
Little cut fastball right there to show him the other side of the plate. He'll probably go back down and away with the regular 2-seamer here. Now this is where both guys know what's happening. I mean, Jared Hughes knows that Bell knows that he's throwing a sinker right here on a 3-1 count. Pull a little extra downward movement on this one here, Jared.
Base hit right field. So now the go-ahead run comes to the plate. And the Pirates are going to get their closer up. And the Reds are going to bring their closer in. We'll take a break in the action. Back with more in a moment. pitching change. He will bring in Brandon Dixon. That's the third second baseman we've seen for the Reds in this game. Jeanette, Blandino, now Dixon. And on the mound, trying to get the final out here in the 8th inning. And the final 3 in the 9th. The Reds closer, Raisel Iglesias.
Well, first things first right here. You're still down in the dangerous part of the lineup, given the fact that you've got Gregory Polanco stepping into the batter's box. Here are the numbers on Iglesias. 27 games now for Iglesias. Very low opponent batting average. But Polanco has already hit a home run. He's reached on a base hit and a walk. Having a good day.
Polanco's had a good day today. A single, a home run, a walk. He has scored twice. Very, very dangerous hitter. Not having a good year, but very talented. Swinging a foul ball off, 1 ball and 1 strike. I mean, despite the fact that he's hitting in the low 200s, he still has 9 home runs and 33 runs batted in.
Well, he's got a real sweeping swing, and he's a guy that likes the ball down and in. He's like an old-fashioned left-handed guy that likes that down and in wheelhouse. That's where the home run ball was that he hit out the center field.
Iglesias beat him with a fastball there. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
That's about as close to his spot as you want to get.
Base hit into right center field. On his way to third is Bell. They're going to take the chance and wave him around. Here comes the throw to the plate, and he's going to be out. Well, they took the chance. That was a tying run if he gets in there safely. But the Reds chop down the would-be tying run. It is a 1-run game, 6-5 as we're off to the 9th.
The first time as a father, same for Tucker Barnhart.
It puts a lot of things in perspective for me, but it's been amazing. He's changed my life. My wife's been a trooper throughout the season, taking care of him and everything while we've been away. But yeah, changed my life for definitely for the best.
And wife and son Tatum were in town this weekend, so big day for Tucker Barnhart. He gets an off day from the lineup.
I'll tell you, it's been a big day for Billy Hamilton. That's a 3-hit day for Billy. Scott Schebler, the batter.
Be interesting here to see how aggressive Billy Hamilton will try to be and maybe getting himself into a scoring position. Top of the lineup now, Schebler, Peraza, then Votto. Not really much running activity at all on the pitcher Edgar Santana.
Schebler beat on the fastball, able to foul it off. Strike one. Hamilton, 3 singles. He has a stolen base. He scored a couple of runs. Every time he's gotten on with a hit, he came around to score, and that is the one thing about Hamilton that's been well documented. I mean, despite the fact that there are guys who get on base with a much higher frequency than Hamilton, there are very few that score more runs than Hamilton does once he gets on base. So you might have guys that have an on-base percentage of 150 points higher than Billy Hamilton, and they won't score with anywhere close to the same frequency that Billy does. Obviously, speed, everything to do with that. Puts himself in a scoring position. A double is going to score him every single time virtually. A single every time will score him from second base.
Well, if you look at the guys that score the most runs, they also have pretty good hitters behind them. That's a big lead. Forget it.
Philly, a second stolen base of the game. 13 of them now on the year.
Well, had a huge lead really after a couple of throwovers by Santana. Billy figured out that he really didn't have much of a move.
Well, you know, the case in point is when you start looking inside some of the numbers, for example, of Jesse Winker. Let's just use him as an example in Hamilton. Hamilton, well over half the time this year, has been batting 8th or 9th. Early in the year, he was batting near the top of the order. Winker was batting almost exclusively in the leadoff spot until he hit that lull in about mid-May. But roughly the same number of at-bats. There's a, 8 total at-bat differential. This ball is hammered by Schebler. Way back into right center field. Hamilton will score on a 2-run big fly by Schebler. And that makes it right back to a 3-run lead. Big home run for Schebler and the Reds.
Boy, he got a whole bunch of this one right here. A 3-1, looked like a fastball that has a little bit of tail on it, but Edgar Santana certainly didn't want it there, a little bit above the waist. Way out of here. And a nice catch at the other end, barehanded grab. So you got to figure, really, with the way the Reds were able to perform their relay throw and nail the tying runner at the plate to end the inning, and then coming right back here with a 2-spot at the top of the 9th, gives this ball club a little bit of a feel-good feeling down there in that dugout. And just completely saps the energy right out of the Pirates.
Peraza, the batter, 2 hits and 4 at bats, has knocked in a run. Anyway, just to finish a thought we were starting to get into it, just to tie a ribbon around it. Winker's on base percentage is 90+ points better than Billy Hamilton, higher, in roughly the same number of at bats. Roughly. There's a ground ball down to first. Hamilton's only getting on 27% of the time. Winker is getting on 36% of the time. Yet Hamilton has scored 11 more runs than Winker, 34-23. Now look, you could go down and say, well, you know, one guy, better hitters behind him, et cetera, et cetera. Look, at the end of the day, as Votto rips one into right field, very well hit over the head of Polanco. For Votto, this will be his second double of the game and his second hit of the game. The bottom line is simply this: they have both had chances to bat in front of the trio that is as good a threesome as there is in any lineup in the National League as far as production so far this year is concerned. You'd have a hard time finding any team that has 3 hitters having better years than the trio of Votto, Jeanette, and Suarez. So both guys have had chances to A, try to get on, and then do they score once they do get on. But Hamilton has batted far more times near the bottom of the batting order than he has at this point near the top of the batting order. Second out of the inning as Dixon grounds out.
Yeah, you know, when I originally read that stat, and I think it was our statistician at home, Joel Luckabit, that came up with an article about that. That it was, I believe, published in The Athletic. That was a very interesting article, and that was one of the points that, you know, someone would make if they wanted to see Billy Hamilton make sure that he got regular playing time. Other than the defense, you take that out of the equation, but just offensively, this is one overlooked part of the offensive game, is how many times do you score versus how many times you get on base.
And it's really quite a dilemma. I mean, I think even those that are in the serious sabermetrics camp, and look, in everything in life, there will be the outliers, you like to say, right? But Hamilton is the most unique player in that regard in baseball because of his high frequency rate of scoring, though rarely getting on. Fly ball to center, and this will end the inning, but a huge home run for Schebler. Huge. Took it from 6-5 to 8-5. 3 outs to go for a Reds win.
brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, well, the Reds trying to get back home on a winning note here tonight. They're off tomorrow. Iglesias now given a 3-run lead. The only batter he faced, he allowed a base hit, which knocks in a run, but the Reds were able to cut down a would-be second runner from scoring on the relay throw from Hamilton to Dixon to the plate, or Peraza, I beg your pardon, to the plate, to get that final out of the 8th inning. Mercer, the pitcher spot. Starling Marte stands down there in the on-deck circle right now. Then back to the top of the order in Schebler. In
Harrison.
I'm looking at the red side of my scorebook. Thank you, Josh Harrison. Schebler just clubbed that long home run. Swing and a miss, and that'll take care of Jordy Mercer. 1 out. So it will be Marte to bat for Santana, who in 1 inning gives up 3 hits and 2 runs.
For the Pirates, number 6, Starling Marte.
Santana, 1 inning, 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, 1 home run. Again for Santana, 1 inning, 3 hits.
Quickly, 0-2 on Marte. Marte started the first couple of games of this series healthy again. Went 0 for 4, knocked in a run last night. He had a hit, knocked in a run on Friday night. Well, we've seen more of these today than we've seen in a long time. Josh Harrison. Harrison, an RBI single in the 7th inning. That came off Jared Hughes. So that would be the tying run standing in the on-deck circle. That's the way the Pirates are thinking at this point. If they can find a way, somehow, some way, to get one more runner on in this inning. Harrison has had another excellent series against his hometown team. Scored a run, a hit in the first game, couple of hits, 2-run home run last night, the RBI single here today. Seems to bring his best against the Redlegs. Back-to-back fastballs. Iglesias throws right by him. if the Reds can nail this one down, it will be a successful road trip. Remember, they won the first 2 games in Kansas City. And despite losing the first 2 here in Pittsburgh, a series loss, obviously. But a win makes it 3-2 before coming back on the home front Tuesday night. And again, a reminder, Tuesday is a night game. Wednesday is a 12:35 game. Night games against the Cubbies, Thursday and Friday, 7:10. Big fireworks Friday night. Saturday, 4:10. Sunday, 1:10. So we're bouncing around a lot on this upcoming homestand. Hook to the left side, and they'll get 1. And that's all they're going to get. Harrison runs too well. Austin Meadows, the batter, looking at ball 1. Call that indifference. Marte taking, or Harrison taking second base here. Base hit left field. That will bring in Harrison from second base, and now the tying run will come to the plate.
Well, the importance of that home run by Schembler, other than being a majestic shot, was very important to secure this ball game.
Cervelli now the batter. He does have 9 home runs and 35 runs batted in. Pirates just not going to throw in the towel on this one. And there's strike 1 to the Pirate catcher. 8-6 game, but the Pirates have the tying run at the plate with 2 outs. And a fly ball hit down the left field line, hooking foul. That would not have been enough to get out of here, although it does not take much down that left field line or right field line for that matter in this ballpark.
A little bit of a hanging breaking ball, and Iglesias left that inside just a little bit too much for Cervelli to do much with.
325 down the left field line, 320 down the right field line, but the higher wall in right.
Redial it down and away here.
We can see again Iglesias, and we've seen this act before where he starts to get very frustrated out there on the mound. We saw him have a total meltdown, you may remember, in the Cubs series earlier this year. One ball and 2 strikes. Oh, he did not get that call. And that's why he got upset in the Chicago series, you may remember. He is seething out there on the mound, not getting that call. Needs to make a pitch, needs to get an out, the final out. Which he does, and that's that. So Iglesias picking up the save. That'll be his 10th. And the Reds get out of here with a win. A final count of 8-6, our final score.
Blew it right by him, decided not to stay away from the corner and go right down the Broadway and use it at 97 to get himself a save and a Reds victory.
All right, Reds win at 8-6. Reds live right around the corner. Reds win 8-6.